Hello everyone, welcome back to the Green Dragon. My name is Christopher, and today I'll be doing my top 5 things you should know before playing Dungeons and Dragons. If you do like a video like this, click the like, give me a thumbs up, and subscribe to the video for more content like this. This is my first video in a series of videos for beginners, and just give you a little bit of my opinion on things as well as we go along the way. If I reach 25 subscribers, I'll be doing a giveaway. That's right, I'll be doing my first giveaway for the channel here as a kind of a thank you for all those that subscribe to my channel and or currently join me on this YouTube journey. And if I reach 25 by next Friday, I'll go ahead and show you do the prize on Monday, and we'll do the drawing then. Okay, if I reach 50, I'll add a little bit extra to that, but more at the end of the video. So let's get started with the number 5 here. So number 5, first and foremost, Dungeons and Dragons is a role-playing game that you play at a tabletop. What is that you're saying? Well, a role-playing game is, well, it's essentially like you're playing a role with other people in a fantasy type setting of make-believe. You're imagining everything happening. Sometimes the dungeon master will go ahead and set up a dungeon on the table for you guys to explore with maybe miniatures or little tiles, depending on who is hosting. Other times it'll be all in your head, and the dungeon master's job would be to describe the scene and describe what's happening. And your job would be to say, well, what is my character doing in that scene? An example would be like, you're in the scene starts off in like an inn in the middle of the night. The fire seems to be roaring. You could hear a crowd chattering and mumbling. The band seems to be playing a little shanty kind of sad tune as you kind of enter into this, let's say it's an inn, for example. People seem a little rough or whatnot, but you seem to kind of fit in just right here. Describe how you're entering the scene, and then you would go and tell them, okay, well, maybe I, come through the door and I go straight to the bartender and I tell him to give me, something strong. And then you'll have some sort of role play interaction from there. That's just a little bit of an example. I'll be kind of getting more into that in another video later down the line here. Speaking of like talking to people, well, it's a social game, guys. Dungeons Dragons is not played alone. It's usually played up to 5 or more people, maybe even less. You need at least one person to be the dungeon master. Essentially, he or she is the person that runs the games. They tell the story. They do explain what the challenge is. They explain to you what creatures are you fighting. They're there to kind of help the players kind of get through and play through the scenes and challenge them to overcome. Okay, now their rules are a little bit different from the players' rules because essentially they're kind of like the overseer of the game, sort of like I guess it'd be like a judge essentially. It would be like a good way to kind of promote how they are. But again, they're there to kind of help you tell the story of whatever your group is doing, and kind of leads you along the way here and there, maybe points you in a certain direction. Okay. That's was my third thing there. It's a game of creativity. Okay, so you have to be very creative when you're playing this game. You have to kind of think a little bit outside the box sometimes, because there's also like puzzles in the game, that the dungeon master can make you do, or have you be confronted with. Like, you could be entering into a room with your group and there'll be like 3 different gems there and like 2 sockets only, so only 2 of the gems will work, but which ones and in what way. So you got to kind of work it out with that with your group there. And he or she will say, if you put this gem in there and this gem in there, X happens, and you go from there. Um, Again, there's also situations where like maybe you get captured or you're fighting a group of bandits and you find like, oh, you ask, what do I see? And your DM tells you, well, you see like a keg of gunpowder sitting around, and you could just say something like, oh, I want to shoot a fire out the keg. Well, tell my party to flee. As we all kind of flee, I let go of the arrow and want to explode that. You'll do some rolls and whatnot, but again, it's all about kind of being creative and using the scene the DM is describing to you or showing you, you know, in order to kind of take advantage of the situation and kind of solve the problem. Now, again, getting back to being like, how do I play this game? That's my second thing here. There's a lot of books and resources out there that for you to play the game. Okay, so like I said, going back to being a social game here, there's Facebook, you could do Reddit. There's people on there that would be happy to have a new player, would be happy to show someone brand new to play Dungeons and Dragons because they do enjoy the game. They really love it. I recommend you go to like a Dungeons and Dragons beginners group and seeing like what people are talking about. If they're playing a game, when are they meeting up? What time? Again, you're playing with real people. So, they all have their own lives there and they're all willing to meet up at a certain time of the week on a certain day, and play this game. Now, you're all kind of in it together. You're all improvising what your characters will be doing, and playing in a fantasy type of setting world to kind of either save the day. Realistically, you're all playing heroes, or maybe one of you wants to play a villain later on and surprise everybody. Just going back to that creativeness. There's sky's the limit on what you're wanting to achieve there and how you're wanting to achieve that. And yeah, the DM's there. Maybe you could throw a monkey wrench into your plans, and because you're constantly probably changing something he or she is trying to create. But the main thing to know about Dungeons & Dragons is it's a game. First and foremost, of course, a role-playing game, but in many games, you have to have fun. So that's my number one thing to know before you play Dungeons & Dragons, is that you gotta kind of think, am I gonna have fun playing this game? Have I seen enough? Am I interested in like wanting to play this game with my friends? Maybe introduce it to them, or maybe I know a friend that wants to introduce me to it. And if you do have fun, then keep playing. There's nothing wrong with enjoying a good story, especially when you're a part of that story. I mean, that's the whole point of Dungeons and Dragons, is you're telling a story with a group of people, and you guys could all look back and have a good laugh about it. A lot of people have like inside jokes through Dungeons and Dragons. They'll like talk about it, with each other, and it's gonna be like kind of like a thing that you and your group would know. And it's great. That's where the camaraderie comes in. That's where the fun kind of creativeness is, because you're all just there having fun and telling a fun story that you're all enjoying. And sometimes there are scenes where maybe you guys get really attached to characters and something bad might happen to them, and sometimes it could be really sad. I mean, people have gone really emotional in this game, and um, it's good to feel those ways. And overall, as long as you guys are having fun, if you guys are really being connected to your characters, and you're starting to feel kind of scared that you might like lose them and stuff, that makes it even more exciting, more interesting. Again, it's kind of like feeling like you're kind of like in your own little book or in a little movie, playing through this game and seeing how your character is going to progress, how your other characters are going to progress in your party, to achieve whatever goal you guys have. But the number one thing is, if you gotta just have fun. And that's like my top 5 things you should know before playing Dungeons and Dragons. Again, if you did like the video, give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button, and appreciate all of you. Again, we'll go into the full details of this here. I'll be giving away a dice set, a complete dice set to help you play Dungeons and Dragons. Essentially, dice set is the sort of thing to play when you're in person, but it gives you an understanding of like the dice required to play Dungeons and Dragons. Again, like there's apps on your phones that you could, roll dice for free, but it's always nice to get something kind of physical there, And since this is a beginner series, what a great way to do it than get a set of dice. Again, this is if I reach 25 subscribers by Friday, or at least 25 at all during the week. I'm already at 20 subscribers, which is very exciting for me. This is my first, technically second YouTube channel, but my first one I'm taking, very seriously. This is one of my favorite hobbies here. But again, if you did enjoy the content, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Also, tell me what you guys think. What are your favorite things about Dungeons and Dragons, or things you want people to know if you play Dungeons and Dragons already, from experience? Things you should kind of maybe watch out for, or things you want new players coming into the game to know beforehand before jumping in. And if you're new, and you're wanting to play Dungeons and Dragons, well, what's interesting you to play the game? Just leave the comment down below there, and greatly appreciate that. And don't forget, guys, have a great night or good morning, and never stop smiling. See you next time.